as you'll see. And what can you say about Nunn? 31 fights, 31 wins, 21 of those by knockout. So without further ado, let's get ringside. Your commentators are Reg Gutteridge and Jim Watts.
So the tough guy, Juan Roldan, always bouncing back man who fought Hagler and Hearns, and the southpaw, Michael Nunn, now a bit of a star in living in North Hollywood and bringing quite a few stars to the fights that he's in now. And he took the championship, there he is, a little bit flash, didn't he, already? Took the championship from Frank Tate, the man who defeated Tony Simpson in Stafford, but I know that Tate certainly had to drag to do the middleweight limit without detracting at all from Nunn's victory. So we'll see if we can do it against this tough nut, who is a natural middleweight, even at 31 years old. Always been a middleweight. He's had 2 wins this year since losing to Hearns, Roldan. And what a spectacular fight that was. Well, he has no fear of the opposition anyway, Roldan. He's been in with some tough guys, and I shouldn't think what we would call Fancy Dan's style of Nunn is going to bother him too much. But he's a good, crisp puncher, Nunn. Well, he proved it against Tate anyway. And he proved it there, didn't he? This fellow walks in with his face and then gets tagged. He did this against Tommy Hearns. And he's the only man who actually officially put Hagler down, Roldan. Well, if they say he's not too much of a puncher, Nunn, Jim, they could have fooled me and certainly fooled Roldan.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing that one again. I get the feeling that balance had something to do with it too. I don't know if he was seriously hurt or if he got caught up in the ropes a little bit and caught square, because he does come in square. But nevertheless, a good punch from Nunn this early in the fight.
What a hard, tough man he is now. That's the sort of opposition now that our own Nigel Benn's got to be looking at, not fighting yet, because these fellas would match him for power and aggression. Roldan's probably saying, Jim, this is going to be my last shot at the championship. I better give it all, and early.
Well, he's certainly given it a shot, but he's starting to throw the punch too far out of range. He's throwing the punch as he moves in. He's going to have to try to get in. I know it's not easy, the style Nunn has, but he's going to have to get close before he throws the punch. All Roldan's work is out of range.
Well, is he going to stand in between rounds, Roldan, as after 74 fights? He's a bit used to this business. It looks as though he is for the time being. And he's very demonstrative, the man in the white jacket there, Miguel Diaz, and the one on the outside is that man talking, Tito Lectori, the promoter in Argentine. Now, Jim, let's have a look at that now.
Well, we'll see the knockdown. Yeah, it was a good punch. His feet did seem to slip that little bit, but it was a good punch.
Yeah, I probably can see it again now as he dived in. He was leaning in on it. Yes, he caught him with that kind of an uppercut left hook, really. It was a cross between both punches.
More jabs and for the body when he's waiting around.
So these are the Goosen family. It's managed by Joe Goosen, and the brothers Larry and Greg there in the corner. And there's 10 of them. They call them the 10 Goose brothers. Coming out early for work in the second round then of the IBF Middleweight Championship. First spotted Nunn when he was in the Olympic trials of '84, and he lost and won against Frank Tate, but they picked Tate for the Olympics instead. 6'2". It's pretty good for a height for a middleweight to have long advantage and reach as well. And of course age. He's 25, Nunn, as against 31.
front, Mike. Keep him in front, okay? Punching it out.
Well, he's got to do it the hard way, Nunn, Jim, because this fella really does come.
Yeah, well, Roldan can only perform one way, and it's going to be very difficult. He has to get close to Nunn, but even when he gets close, Nunn seems to be as strong as he is. This is a good performance from Nunn so far.
Yeah, he was a bit fiddly early on, Nunn, but coming up for the championship and then winning it, he's become a very positive fighter indeed. And that often happens with a champion. We've seen it with Lloyd Hannigan. Always been a good boxer, but now he's moved into world championship class. He's all business.
Punching it out. Punching it out. No holding, no holding.
But certainly going to test Nunn here now. If he gets over this tough fellow in style, then we know he's a good champion. As I say, the feed intake, he definitely looks like a light heavyweight, and I would have thought that was what the scales got to him as much as the punches. A little bit of the Harold Graham about him, Jim, isn't it? But he looks like he may dig a bit harder than Graham.
Yeah, well, he's doing the right thing. He has to keep out of range of Roldan's punches, but still close enough to land his own, and that's what he's doing, and he's making it very difficult. He's forcing Roldan to do a lot of work, but very little success. And I don't think Roldan can keep this pace going.
And coming out then for round 3. And it's the old bull and matador stuff here again. He always chases the opposition hard, Roldan. Soaks up a bit as he did with Tommy Hearns. No, that was a slip, quite rightly. The crowd got a bit excited, but Richard Steele was in there. Works in a local casino. I think he's a security man there. Well, Roldan seems to think it's to his advantage, Jim, but it was definitely a slip there in that wet on the corner.
Yeah, it was definitely a slip, no doubt about that. But Roldan's getting that a little bit closer to Nunn. I think Nunn should be making better use of his long, stiff jab, catch Roldan as he comes in. He's not doing that. He's allowing Roldan to get inside, and that really is Roldan's kind of fight.
That's dangerous. He mustn't show contempt for a man like this who's been around 74 pro fights, and he's only lost 4. And all against top class, obviously. That surprises me, Jim. I know he's a little bit flashy in his style, and arrogance is part of his ability, actually, Nunn, but it's foolish to take punches like this.
Yeah, he just seems to be messing about at the moment, just showing Roldan total contempt. He's not interested in what Roldan's doing, but he's going to have to get down to work. This is not the kind of fight Nunn should be boxing.
And there he goes, starts to unload it. Changed his mind now. He's going to do some attacking. Oh, sharp punches to the head there. He threw a couple to the body, then switched them well. Well, he's always been a durable character, Roldan, and he's going to need to be here by the look of it. Oh, it's a good battle, Jim, too, isn't it? There's no quarter sought nor given, as the old writers say, as we come up to the end of round 3.
This is a good battle. We expected Nunn to be on his bicycle for the first few rounds, and it's been quite the opposite. He stood his ground, and he's actually thrown far better punches at this stage than Roldan.
That's what can happen though. If you get a little too lazy, keep that head a little bit sharper inside if you're gonna land up. Is that kind of on your stomach? Yeah. Shit, he ain't
there, as I said, there's all the goosens that you talked about. Actually, the manager's the one that's kneeling in front of the champion there.
This is Mike. I'm telling you, he's got his eyes closed. He's cut right now. All you got to do is turn on those combinations a little bit earlier. Okay. I know what you did. You let him shoot off a little steam.
Yeah, there it is. Let him shoot off a little steam, the corner said, which he did. But there it is. You get an idea of the spread there. That was the water that was left in the corner, and his own corner at that. Jim?
Yeah, well, good quality punches from Nunn when he got to work after the first minute or so in that round. He is a classy performer.
And this throwback, isn't he, in round 4, Roldan, to the old-fashioned style of fighter. He must say, I wonder where these Americans find these fellas from. Every time I challenge for a championship, up comes a Hagler or a Hearns, and now this fella. I've certainly seen worse challengers than this who have won championships, Jim.
Yeah, it's a pity with all the versions of the title we've had going around. Roldan didn't pick one up. Certainly deserves a title.
Punch it out there. Punch it out. Let him go, Mike.
Let him go, Mike. There's a slight advantage there on the assumption that Roldan doesn't understand too much English. I mean, he's talking all the time to Nunn, the referee. He's certainly improved a great deal since I saw Nunn very early on. He beat Virgil Hill in the amateurs as well in a box-off, and then lost to him. Virgil Hill's now light heavyweight champion. So he's been a bit longer coming than some of them, but as the Goosen brothers said, others might have signed the gold medalist. We've got the golden nugget. One thing, Jim, we'll never have to go looking for Roldan. He's always coming at him.
Yeah, Roldan's always there, but I do feel Nunn could make this a little bit easier than he's doing. He could be backing off, allowing Roldan to come in and picking him off, but he's letting Roldan come up close and trying to punch him out. Although I have to say, when he stands his ground, he's making a good job of that.
Roldan fought Hagler, it was the accumulation of punches that finally got to him in the 10th round, although he had Hagler down. There was a bit of a dispute on whether it was a clean knockdown or not, but it's considered the only time Hagler's taken a count. But of course that's not related to this fight at all. Different type of fighter, Michael Nunn altogether. Oh, they do stage some wars in this town, I tell you. No wonder they can give good purse monies as we come up to the end of the 4th. And they're earning it too. A bit too much grease or Vaseline on the eye there, and the referee's hand wipe it off. Don't want to slip too many punches with the artificial aid. And they've been using that since the old time immemorial there. The grease around the faces to stop the chafing of gloves and not the power of them. Here I am, come and find me, says Houdini Nunn there. And I think he really believes that build-up second to Nunn, as they do get some corny taglines for fighters. Always looks as though he's got it comfortably in control, Nunn, Jim, doesn't it? It's good to see in a fighter like that. Unbeaten, that's what it's all about. 31 on the spin now, 21 stopped.
Yeah, well, we saw some good pressure from Roldan there, but nothing Roldan did seemed to trouble Nunn in the slightest. Then he comes back with these good, accurate, sharp punches of his own. He's just working at his own pace. He's not even breathing heavy.
The referee was a bit hesitant about diving in there to pull him apart. A shouting break might have helped, but he then decided not to. He's a good referee, Richard Steele. Well, that one shook Roldan to the boots a bit. They're all hurting, but he showed that that one hurt him. And now trying to get back in there and try and take a bit of a play away. It's a case of the punch picker outsmarting the roughhouse, Jim, isn't it?
Yeah, he is a classy performer when he goes to work. Roldan has done a lot of good work in this round.
See that left hand? You got to start doing it like that, Nunn. You had him out. You know, you lean on him at the end of the round. He's out. Yeah. He was out. Man. You had him set. Hit him with the uppercut. I want to see you be the tiger now. Nunn. I got to see it come out. What is it? It's 6. Okay, this is the round. Relax. It's all right. It's all right. Mike, see that left hand you stuck?
There it is now, Jim. They're rather pleased with that right hand, I should say left hand southpaw. We would call that the right cross with an orthodox boxer. Good shot, that.
On the inside, Mike, double up. And the body in the short, crisp ones to the head and get that roll. Roll under those counters. He's coming up. How do you feel? Good? Shit, you're in great shape, man. Couple deep breaths.
It's great the way they boost the ego in the corners there. So it's surprising how boxers do rise to that. A little bit cut on the forehead there. That's why they plastered that on. Round 6 of this scheduled 12, of course, now all championship fights by all the recognized bodies, and there seems to be more than ever these days are now on the 12-round course, not 15s. He's got some creditable wins on his record. He's beaten James Kinchin, among others, Roldan. Back, it was only last year in the 9th round here in Las Vegas. So he's not always been on the receiving end. We tend to remember him only for Hagler and Hearns. Yeah, there seems no sense in Nunn trying to mill it with him, Jim. You know, standing in there, it's much easier for him to back off and pick his shots.
Yeah, well, it's getting a little bit messy at this moment, and that suits Roldan a lot more than Nunn. Nunn should be using the advantages. He's younger, he's faster, longer reach, obviously. He should be using those things instead of standing his ground and allowing Roldan to turn into a slug.
Sometimes these fellas want to show you that they can rough it up a bit. Ray Leonard made that mistake in the first fight with Roberto Duran, tried to beat him with his own game. That's the way he picks him off. He picks Roldan off well when he comes in there. That's a bit of quality stuff from Nunn. Certainly is frustrating for Roldan, Jim, the risk of repetition, as I say, with Hearns, who's the orthodox but similar style to this, and then Hagler knew too much for him with the southpaw style. He's never had an easy one.
No, well, the middleweight division is a tough division, and when you're 5'7", then it's even tougher.
Well, his face is standing up well as we come out for round 7 there, Roldan. He's getting hit with plenty of leather. He's got a bit of a leathery face anyway, hasn't he, with the way he's been around. He's stopped 45 opponents, and sometimes the matches have been in his favour, but even good class fighters, he's had some good wins. Rated number 6 by the IBF, and it's a really good comeback after getting beaten by Hearns. About Tito Lectori and his camp, he always produces tough guys. Carlos Monzon, and he's even sorted out the next opponent for Barry McGuigan, Miranda, and he says you'll be surprised when you see him. Good boxer. Well, is he feigning pain there, Jim, or not? He looked like he was hurt there, Nunn.
That was a good right hand from Roldan. Didn't shake him, but I don't think he liked it too much. He's going to have to start coming back with it, some punches now.
Oh, it's a hard slog in the 7th, this one. There's the volume of punches and the power. Referees working this fight well. They're not holding at all, but he's really allowing them to fight inside like that. To Roldan, Jim, if it's going to be his last shot at the title, he's certainly going to not lacking any courage and giving it a go. You'd think he'd be a little bit worn out by now, facing these fellas that mess him about and can punch accurately.
Well, I think he's enjoying this because he's getting into range. I thought he would have been frustrated by this time, but because Nunn moving out of range all the time. But Roldan's getting into range, doing some good work. But when Nunn does go to work, he looks at certainly that little bit sharper, that little bit classier.
Good finish to the 7th. Well, he's really pulling him together there, Tito Lectori. Has been with him for years. As a promoter, he's one of the shrewdest nuts in the fight game. He really does know his business, not just as a corner man, but as a promoter and matchmaker. And there it is, the But at one time they actually used a doll's house iron, but now they're making them especially for bruises around the face, and boxers seconds. They've all taken them up now. Angelo Dundee was one of the first to use them. That's some bull of a man, isn't he, Roldan? I mean, he's the sort of cartoonish conception of the tough pro fighter. In round 8. And Michael Nunn now mustn't be in danger of believing all his own publicity. He likes to spout a bit, and nobody's going to take the championship from me, but he's got to give Roldan some respect. Pleads from the corner, I think, from part of the audience here. Come on, Mike, go. Low punch, quite right, and rightly warned for it. Nunn took a bit of a risk looking at the referee there. Jimmy can't afford to do that.
Yeah, it certainly was a low punch, though. I think the referee saw it as quickly as Roldan felt it. But Roldan's still doing good work, because Nunn is still allowing him to come into range and taking too long to get his own punches off.
He's had a good round here, Roldan. See, there it is again. He's had some misses, Nunn, and then the right-hander from Roldan landed. Punch and get out, says the referees. That's what pro referees are good at, encouraging the fight rather than stepping in all the time and nagging. Oh, he's come back well there, though, Nunn. He switched that around. Good round in the 7th now. In the 8th. Well, he looked as though he was on top, and then suddenly he was simply sickened by those punches. Is he going to leave it too late to get up, Jim? It looks as though he is. Yes, counted out in the act of rising. I think that was a time where Roldan has said, I've taken enough stick in the past. I thought I had the man on the hook. He turned it right around, and he simply, well, ran out of ambition as well. That punch hurt nonetheless, but I think he could have got up a few years ago. Jimmy might have made that, eh?
Well, it was pretty impressive stuff, that, wasn't it? But your heart's got to go out to Juan Domingo Roldan. He really isn't in the same